and welcome to episode 4 of the Grace Gotham Museum of Whimsy and Curated Hoarding. I'm your host, Grace Gotham. Thanks so much for all the positive feedback about my little videos here. I'm really glad that you find them helpful and fun and soothing and whatnot. One of the funniest compliments that I've gotten was just earlier today from somebody who totally crinkles their nose at any thought of being on social media whatsoever and has no Instagram and no Facebook. My mother. I ended up texting her these, and I put them on YouTube too. So if you have a relative or friend who does not like the idea of social media, they can just Google, or you can just Google Grace Gotham Museum, and these things come up because they're now on YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, my mom said, I love these. They're like Mr. Rogers for adults. So there's no more high praise than that. With that said, I'll get started on our item of the day, or the first item of the day. Okay. Here is the detail on this beautiful item. This is a jacket. It's almost like a little silk satin. It is silk, but it's got a satiny feel to it. Jacket that I got at a discount store called Fox's here in New York. It was plain. It didn't have these decorations on it whatsoever. And it just seemed like it needed something. So I called upon a friend who was recommended to me through another friend, through the performance community. And I said, do you know anybody who could paint, hand paint decoration on something? And lo and behold, I found this wonderful artist. Her name's Sarah Eileen. She's in New York most of the time, but not always. And she created this masterpiece. So right now you're looking at the front of the jacket, and you can see these lovely flags, right, on these golden flag poles. I'm going to zoom in here so you can really take a look at it. See? Pink, blue, green. Look at those little tassels. All right. Underneath the jacket, I just have a 1930s pajama set because it just happened to look really good with that. Take a look at the cuffs. Tassels and little golden poles. Oh, so cute. And it's on both cuffs, but just wait till you see the back. Oh, Lordy. It's not that easy for me to do with one hand, but you get the idea. Okay, the back. And I've only gotten to wear this one time. Look at that charming little carousel scene. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh, she did such an incredible job. It's so like light and airy and playful and energetic and fun. It makes me think of that part of Mary Poppins when the kids went on the carousel ride and that the carousel kept going, and they were riding the carousel horses elsewhere, like in a fox hunt. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And she loved the contrasting colors that she used for the horses. And she wasn't copying anything. This is just her own brilliance. Ah, so lovely. It also reminds me of, there was a lot of designs that Elsa Schiaparelli did that involved things like circuses and carousel horses, etc. But anyway, I thought you'd really appreciate that. Ah, it's so pretty. Masterpiece. Someday I'll get to wear it again. It doesn't really fit very good right now, but that's okay. I can look at it every single day. It hangs on a closet door right by my bed, and I spend a lot of time in my bed these days watching TV. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to take you on a tour through my room, oh Lord, into the living room for item number 2. This is a horse-themed show, by the way. Here's item number 2. This is a toy from the 1940s or 50s that I got on eBay. Let me zoom out so you can see. It's got wheels. So it's like a little kid's toy. You'd pretend to ride the horse. Isn't that fantastic? It's metal, and it's of course like all wood and painted so beautifully and finished with like varnish and stuff. Not like the toys you can get today. And if you think it looks a little jazzed up, it's because it is jazzed up. At one point, I used this for a Halloween costume one year, and I also had this thought that I'd use it in some of my performances. That That was early in my performance career when I didn't consider things like you'd be dragging this around all over the place and that sometimes very small details get lost on stage. So now it's in the living room and its permanent home is right by the mantle in a place of honor. And this feather, it came to me when I had my vintage clothing store in the early 2000s. And this wonderful customer, well, she's not really a customer, she would come by all the time, and she was a lady who was 90 years old, Mrs. Mazer. And she would bring stuff for me to consign. And she had really interesting things, and this was one of it. It obviously came off of a hat or something, and I kept it all these years. Came in handy to go on this glorious horse toy. As a little aside about Mrs. Mazer, I've got to show you this. This is my scrapbook from when I had my shop. And just to get an idea of what a character Mrs. Mazer was, I've got to read this to you. Now, keep in mind, my shop did not have a bathroom, okay? I had to go down the street to the church because it was in a basement, and that's what I could afford at the time, and I tried to make it as nice as I could. She was very concerned about the fact that it didn't have a bathroom. So one day, I got this in the mail. Here it is. It's to me at Tallulah Vintage, 300 East 88th Street. All right? Open it up. I'm going to save the little insert for a minute. Open it up. Let's see here. Sorry. Dear Sarah, have a good pee and think of me. Then she puts the 800 number to a catalog item. Fondly, Renee. Here's what's inside the card. Ideal when you need instant relief. Whether in bed, in a car, or on a boat. Keep John or Jane nearby. Sanitary plastic bottle. Has easy to use funnel design and sure grip handle. So, yes, she wanted me to order this, and I thought that was the most hysterical thing in the world that I, of course, put it in the scrapbook. And I always think of the saying, have a pee and think of me, when I look at that feather now, which is pretty often because it's in my living room, and I'm constantly seeing it. See, it's like displayed next to the mantle. Oh boy. Last but not least, one more horse-themed item that also came from the shop. Actually, I don't think it ever even got to go to the shop. I think I snagged it. It was from a different estate of somebody that I had purchased their clothing. And check this out. Okay, it's a, see if I can show it to you better. It's a parasol. It's more like a regular umbrella material with a tassel, okay? That part is not in very good shape, you know? Meh, not so great. But check out the handle. Let me put it with a background that you can see it. That's the handle. It's a carved horse's hoof. Isn't that so cool? Look at that. There's the bottom. And there's the other side. And the handle itself is this beautiful wood. And so, of course, I've never gotten rid of it. I'm going to keep it forever. And I used to have this fictional character that I made up when I had the shop called Jane Hoofenhofer, who was a very particular, you know, uppity, wound tightly wasp lady who, when she didn't approve of something, would take this horse's hoof and knock somebody on the head with it. It was a whole character I had. I'm sure it sounds not as funny as it did at the time, but that's a little backstory of what came out of this hoof. Anyway, those are my 3 items, and I hope that you have a relaxing day and that you hang in there, and I'll see you tomorrow. 3 more items. Ciao for now. Bye. See if I can make it wave. Bye.